Well, in Washington, a major new development in the Russian probe led by special counsel Robert Mueller. Sources telling CNN that the first charges have been filed in the case. But right now, those charges are sealed, so we don't have the details. CNN's Ryan Nobles has more.
It is a landmark moment in the investigation into Russian meddling in the 2016 election. Sources briefed on the matter say a federal grand jury in Washington approved the first charges in the investigation led by special counsel Robert Mueller. A spokesman for the special counsel's office declined to comment. The indictments are sealed, so it's not known who's been charged and what those charges are. But plans are underway for anyone charged to be taken into custody as soon as Monday.
When you see a sealed indictment like this, it almost always happens for one reason. There's a fear that the defendant is going to flee the jurisdiction.
The special counsel's investigation has focused on potential collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, as well as obstruction of justice by the president, who might have tried to impede the investigation. CNN reported that investigators are scrutinizing Trump and his associates' financial ties to Russia. The president and his advisors have denied all wrongdoing.
This is what we've been waiting for, to see if investigators will bring charges in this probe that even impacts the president to a degree, because investigators have been looking at his potential involvement in obstruction of justice. You see him tweeting about it, calling it a witch hunt, a hoax, saying that it's a waste of taxpayer dollars.
The president and his allies have spent the last several weeks raising doubts about the Mueller probe. On Friday, the president tweeting that the investigation was costly, and his press secretary, Sarah Sanders, backed up his argument.
Congress has spent a great deal of time on this, a better part of a year. All of your news organizations have actually spent probably a lot of money on this as well, which we would consider probably a pretty big waste. I think that our position hasn't changed since day one, and I think we are seeing now that if there was any collusion with Russia, it was between the DNC and the Clintons, and certainly not our campaign.
But despite White House protests, the investigation is clearly moving forward. Mueller's team has also examined foreign lobbying conducted by former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, and others. The special counsel has also issued subpoenas for documents and testimony to a handful of figures, including some people close to Manafort and others involved in a Trump Tower meeting between Russians and campaign officials.
And this may be an indication that he's not trying to show his hand because he doesn't want people to be able to either conceal evidence, destroy evidence. It may be the reason that he was able to do a surprise, no knock and announce warrant on Paul Manafort's home. There is an urgency that Robert Mueller is seeing, and it may be a flight risk. It may also be because there are some missing pieces.
Well, let's go to the White House now. CNN's Ryan Nobles joins me live. Ryan, typically on a Saturday morning, we will hear from President Trump. Has he commented on all of this?
He hasn't commented specifically on this story, Linda. He has tweeted twice this morning, tweeting kind words to former American President Jimmy Carter. He also talked about the American GDP, but has not said anything so far about these potential charges. Perhaps he and his team keeping it close to the vest at this point. We have reached out to his team for comment this morning, and they have yet to respond.
And just give us a sense of what sort of charges could be brought about when this all kind of comes to the fore on Monday.
You know, it's really difficult to forecast, Linda, because the special counsel has been so guarded in their investigation. For the most part, we've had to read the tea leaves through the witnesses that they've called. We obviously know of the raid that took place on Paul Manafort's home. So it's difficult to predict exactly who may be arrested, if there is more than one person that could be arrested. But we do expect that to come as soon as Monday. And there's also a chance that this arrest could be designed to put pressure on other people involved in this investigation and try to get more information as it relates to what role Donald Trump and his campaign played and their connections to Russia during the campaign.